Hi everyone, it's WWE Fan 1993. Welcome to my next review. We are looking at the greatest women matches in WWE history. This time period stems from 2016 to 2020. So we're going to be going over the greatest matches, the greatest women's matches from WWE 2016 to 2020. Before we get into it, remember to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you get notified when new content is created. Let's dig in. So some of the matches on here, there's some matches that are missing, and I'll do a video of bonus matches, but I'm just going to get to the gist of it. All these matches take place on a pay-per-view, so that is my criteria for these matches. We're going to start with NXT TakeOver Dallas. We see the NXT Women's Champion Bayley defending against the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. Now, this is the first time that these two women would meet inside the squared circle, and let me tell you, they tore the house down. During these matches, I'm not going to tell you who wins or loses because I would like you to see for yourself. These two gave it their all. Bayley showed that she was ready for the main roster, while Asuka showed that she is a worthy competitor and possible worthy champion. This match was amazing. It was one of the favorites of 2016. Check it out. NXT TakeOver Dallas, Asuka versus Bayley. Next, we have from WrestleMania 32, one of the most talked about women's matches of all time, the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, the Women's Championship was brand new this year, so Charlotte was entering this match with the Divas Championship. So Charlotte is taking on Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. These three stole the show. They proved that not only are women athletic, but that you care about the matches that they put on. They had a tremendous match, and it was almost like follow that. And to be honest with you, I don't think anybody could. So check that out. The triple threat women's title match, Charlotte versus Becky versus Sasha. You will not be disappointed. The spots are amazing. This match was just awesome. Next, we're going to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. We're seeing a rematch from TakeOver Dallas. The NXT Women's Champion, Asuka, taking on Bayley. Now, these two fought back at Dallas. They had an amazing match. This was the rematch for it. Now, in my humble opinion, this match was not as good as Dallas. However, it was good for its own self. If you didn't watch Dallas, you would be a bit more happy with this match. But if you didn't see it, sorry, I'm just fixing the microphone. If you didn't see Dallas, you would appreciate this match maybe a bit more. But it was a great match. Bayley versus Asuka, Brooklyn 3. The rematch from Dallas, and these two tore the house down again. Next, we have from Clash of the Champions 2016, the triple threat match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. We have the Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte, defending her title against Sasha Banks and Bayley. This is the first time that these three were able to compete on the main roster together. Bayley had just got called up to WWE in 2017, and they tore the house down as usual. It was a great match, and I recommend watching it to kind of see the women's evolution where it went. Next, we're at the Oh, actually, we're not in 2017. We're still in 2016. Sorry, you guys. Next, we're coming from Hell in a Cell 2016, the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. And this match was for the Raw Women's title, as the Raw Women's Champion, the Boss, Sasha Banks, takes on Charlotte Flair. These two had a storied rivalry, and basically to culminate it, they are going to take place in Hell in a Cell. They gave it their all. Now, there's a lot of bumps and some sort of missed spots, but it was still a great match. And for anyone who's a fan of WWE, to see two females in a Hell in a Cell, it was different, unique, and I enjoyed it. So check that out. Next, NXT TakeOver Toronto 2016. The NXT Women's Champion, the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, takes on the returning Mickie James. Now, Mickie James had something to sort of prove. She's been gone from WWE since 2010, and she's back 6 years later and she's ready to take on Asuka. Now, Asuka has taken on all comers. She's been undefeated, and Mickie James says, you know what? You've beaten everybody, but not me. So Mickey's making her return, and these two once again tore the house down, had an amazing match, proved that Nikki still can go, still has it, and can hang with the bigger stars right now. So Toronto, NXT TakeOver Toronto, Asuka versus Mickie James. Next, we're at the end of 2016, a roadblock, end of the line. The Raw Women's Championship is on the line in the first ever 30-minute women's Iron Man match. Now, this technically was the second match, but for WWE, this was the first. The initial NXT first was Bayley versus Sasha. Now we're seeing Sasha defend her Raw Women's title against Charlotte. This was a great match. They brought it all, and it kind of culminated. This was kind of the end of the rivalry for a while, and they tore the house down. They went on it for 30 minutes and potentially longer. Who knows? But it was a great match, and I suggest you watch it. Roadblock and the Line 2016, Sasha versus Charlotte. Next, we're going to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 as the NXT Women's Champion, Asuka, defends against the new sort of woman on the division, Ember Moon. These two tore the house down too. Asuka with her striking ability, Ember Moon with her high flying tactics. These two women had so much great chemistry, and they tore the house down just as much as any of the other matches. This match was on one of the greatest 2017 matches list, and it is there for a reason because it was amazing. Next, we're going to Survivor Series 2017 as the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss takes on the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. This was a champion versus champion match as SmackDown and Raw were going head-to-head at the Survivor Series. Alexa Bliss credits this as her favorite match in WWE. They both brought it, and it kind of showed that even though Alexa Bliss was not a part of the Four Horsewomen, she was a driving force for the women's evolution, and they proved it in this match. Next, we're going to Royal Rumble 2018, the first ever 30-woman Royal Rumble match. Now, the winner of this match will be able to challenge for either the Raw Women's title or the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. This is the first time that 30 women got involved, and I tell you to watch this. If you love the history of women in WWE, this is a match to watch. You saw so many cool returns. I won't spoil any of them for you, but women from the past, present, and potentially future of the division all were involved in this match, and once again, it showed that women can do what men do. Next, we're going to Elimination Chamber 2018. The Raw Women's title is on the line in the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber match. Imagine saying that. Women's Elimination Chamber match. They brought it. So you saw the Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss, defending her title against Bayley, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Sonya Deville, and Sasha Banks. And they had a great match, very brutal, showing once again, like I said about the Royal Rumble match, that men can do it just as good, if not better. The women can do better than the men, maybe. They had a great match, and I recommend you watching because it's the first ever Elimination Chamber for the women. Next, we're going to NXT TakeOver New Orleans as the NXT Women's Champion Ember Moon defends her title against the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler. This is Shayna's first women's title match. It's the first time she was allowed to compete for the title. Ember Moon was the reigning champion, and these two gave it their all. Shayna Baszler was just involved in the Mae Young Classic, and now she is challenging for the NXT Women's Championship. It was a great match, and I recommend you watching it. Next, we're going to WrestleMania 34, the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line as the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair defends her title against Asuka. This was one of the greatest women matches of all time. They literally put on a WrestleMania-worthy match. I would love to see these two in the ring again. It was just amazing, the moves, the action. It was back and forth. We didn't know who was going to win. And I'm sure when you watch this, you will be pleasantly surprised and happy that you tuned in. WrestleMania 34, Asuka versus Charlotte. Now, This next match kind of falls into a different category. I put it in because it's not all women fighting, but it was still a great match. So it's the mixed tag team match. This is Ronda Rousey's first ever WWE match. So it's Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle taking on Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. This match surprisingly delivered and was one of the greater matches of WrestleMania, aside from Asuka versus Charlotte. They had great chemistry. Stephanie was a great heel. You wanted her to get beat up so badly by Ronda. You'll have to see what happens to see if that actually comes true. But they gave it their all. I like the history of Kurt Angle and Triple H because, as WWE fans know, they had a great rivalry back in 2000. So it was interesting to see them relive that. Great match. Another top 2018 match, so check that out. Next, we're going to the second ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match from the 2018 Money in the Bank pay-per-view. The women competing in this match are Sasha Banks, Natalya, Charlotte Flair, Ember Moon, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Lana. And they put on a great match too, better than the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match, I will say. And they were great competitors. They tore the house down. Recommend watching that one. Next, we're going to WWE Hell in a Cell, the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is from 2018 as well. As a SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair defends her title against Becky Lynch. Now, Becky Lynch had just turned heel back in August after she felt like she won all these matches, and then Charlotte just kind of scooped up the women's title again. Becky turned on her at SummerSlam, and now they're on a collision course for Hell in a Cell. And it was a great match. It was not a Hell in a Cell match, but they tore the house down, and someone walked away as a SmackDown Women's Champion, and it was great. Next, we're going to the first ever all-women's pay-per-view event, WWE Evolution 2018. The SmackDown Women's Champion, the man, Becky Lynch, defending her title against Charlotte Flair in a last woman standing match. This was one of the greatest matches of 2018 as well, and definitely put women in a main event spot. All the women that competed before a main event, these two gave it their all. There was just so many hardcore moments, so many memorable moments in this match, and I really suggest you check this out. This is one of the greatest matches of all time, not even women. So that was great. Next, we're going to NXT TakeOver War Games, as the NXT Women's Championship is defended as the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler defends against Kairi Sane in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This match was sort of like the culmination of a rivalry. Both women had wins on each other, and this was kind of to find out who is the actual winner once and for all. Watching this match, you are amazed by Shayna Baszler's technical ability and Kairi Sane's high flying and technical ability as well. So check that out. That's another great match. Next, we're going to Survivor Series 2018 as the Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey takes on Charlotte Flair. Initially in this match, Becky Lynch was supposed to challenge Ronda Rousey, but after Becky broke her nose and had a severe she needed severe help, Becky chose Charlotte Flair to take on Ronda. This was another great match from 2018. Charlotte credits this one as one of her favorite matches. For a match that was put together so shortly, they had amazing chemistry and brought the house down. Next, TLC 2018. Now in this match, the NXT, well not NXT, the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship is on the line as the SmackDown Women's Champion. Becky Lynch defends her title against Charlotte Flair and Asuka in the first ever women's tables, ladders, and chairs match. This was a great match. It was a great triple threat. The ending was kind of sketchy, I'm not going to lie. However, it was a great match, and the women gave it their all, and I recommend you checking that out as well. Next, we are going to the Royal Rumble 2019, as we see
the SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka defending her title against the man Becky Lynch. This was another amazing match. These two tore the house down. This match was basically one of the greater matches on the Royal Rumble 2019 card, and it was exciting to watch and see. Next, we have, sorry, I'm looking through my pictures here. We have Elimination Chamber 2019, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships on the line as the champions. Well, no one's a champion yet, but pretty soon the women's would be able to find out who their champion is. So we see the team of the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, taking on Tamina and Nia Jax, the Boston Hug Connection, Fire and Desire, the Iconics, and the team of Naomi and Carmella. This is a great match. The women gave their all, and they wanted to prove that they could do it in a environment that wasn't normally set out for women. It was a great match, and they gave it their all. Check it out. Next, we are going to WrestleMania 35. This was the first ever main event that women had at a WrestleMania. And it was for the Raw Women's Championship, a triple threat match. The Raw Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey, defending her title against Charlotte Flair and the man Becky Lynch. The entrances, the excitement for this match was amazing. The build-up was amazing to this match, and a lot of people think this match wasn't so great. However, I thought it was good for a first ever women's main event match. They brought it, and it kind of sealed the deal and kind of set in motion for more women main events in the near future. Next, we're going to Money in the Bank 2019. I was actually live in attendance for this match, and it was off the charts. So, in this match, we saw Natalya, Naomi, Dana Brooke, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Ember Moon, Mandy Rose, and Bayley all fight for the contract. Now, I won't give anything away, but one of the women in this match was replaced, and it was amazing. There were some great spots, and I recommend you going back and watching that match because it was great. Next, we're going to NXT Takeover Toronto. This was a match between Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. Io Shirai had just turned on Candice LeRae after she lost another match against Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship, and Io Shirai had enough, turned heel, and attacked Candice LeRae. This was a great match for both women. We saw Io in a heel role, we saw Candice in a determined role, and they gave it their all and had an epic match. It was great. I suggest you tune in and watch that one as well. Next, we're at SummerSlam 2019. This is a great match. Trish Stratus taking on Charlotte Flair. The past versus the present. And I was rooting for Trish because obviously I grew up with her. I won't tell you who won. I don't want to spoil anything. Charlotte brought it. Trish brought it. And it was just an amazing match. And I loved it. And I suggest you watch it as well. Next, we're going to Clash of the Champions 2019. The Raw Women's Championship on the line as the Raw Women's Champion, the man Becky Lynch, takes on the boss Sasha Banks. Now, Sasha had just returned to Raw. She turned heel and just attacked Becky. Sasha was away since WrestleMania, so it was interesting to see her back. She had a debut of her new blue hair color, and it was just a great match to lead up to our next match, which took place in Hell in a Cell, the Raw Women's Championship again on the line, the man Becky Lynch defending her title against the boss Sasha Banks in a Hell in a Cell match. This match was much better than the 2016 Hell in a Cell match, and they gave it their all. They had an amazing match, and this match was one of the better matches of 2019, and I suggest you watch that as well. Next, we're going to NXT TakeOver War Games 2019. Now, the teams aren't comprised together just yet, so we're going to go over some of the contestants. So, on one side, you have the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kaylee Ray, taking on the team of Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, and um, Tegan Knox. Sorry. This was the first ever women's War Game match. They gave it their all again. They proved that women can once again compete in these types of circumstances. And it was a great coming out party for a lot of the women to kind of show who they are and what they do. Next, we are at NXT TakeOver Portland. The NXT Women's Championship on the line as the NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley defends against Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is one of the most underrated women talents on the roster. She is always great at what she does. She always brings her best. And these two gave it their all and had an amazing match. And Bianca showed that she could hang with the best of them and she could be a main eventer. Next, we're at Royal Rumble 2020 as we see the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka in a rematch from their first match from Royal Rumble. This was not as good as their first match. However, it was a great match, and I suggest you watch it. It was amazing, and it was just awesome. Now we're on to WrestleMania. The NXT Women's Championship on the line as the NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley defends against Charlotte Flair. This is the first time the NXT Women's Championship was on the line out of WrestleMania. It was great. Rhea Ripley proved she could be on the main roster. Charlotte Flair proved that she can hang with even NXT superstars. It was great, and I suggest you watch that one too. Next, we are still at WrestleMania, the Women's Tag Team Championships on the line as the Women's Tag Team Champions, the Kabuki Warriors, takes on the team of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Alexa and Cross have been teaming for a while, and it was their coming out match. They were ready to take on the Kabuki Warriors, who were heel and were using their abilities against the other women. It was one of the greater matches for WrestleMania, in my opinion. Next, we're at NXT TakeOver in your house. The NXT Women's Championship will be decided in a triple threat match as we see the NXT Women's Champion Charlotte Flair defend against Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. I love all three of these competitors, so to see them fighting was just awesome to me. And finally, we are at our last match of the night. We are at Bayley defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Nikki Cross. I was surprised with how good this match was. Nikki Cross is amazing. Bayley was great. I was not sure who was going to win. There were so many near falls, and I bet it's going to be a thrill ride for you too. So I'm sorry for the long video. Thank you for checking out the greatest women matches from 2016 to 2020. Check all these matches. You can find them all on the WWE Network. They are great, I promise. I will be back soon with a Raw recap and an NXT recap. But for now, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and be sure to hit the notification bell so you get notified when new content is created. Thank you guys. Be safe, and I'll see you all soon.